Yeah, so the question, it's a good question, is like, does this work? Does this work?
The observation part I'm getting, but
You mean inside yourself? You don't feel the. Yeah, but I mean, how long have you been practicing? And you're not a fully enlightened Buddha yet. Must be a slow learner. If I said to you, if you remember how you were before 2.5 months ago, have you changed at all? Have you changed in tiny ways, or have you changed in some significant ways? What? Well,
they're big for me.
they're big for you. Well, yeah. Well, you're the one. It's your life, right? So you don't compare yourself to anybody else. But yeah. So the main thing is, why do we practice a spiritual path? To transform, right? To transform. I mean, that's what it's about, isn't it? Right? And in Buddhism, at its most profound level, it's going from an ordinary, deluded, afflictive self that feels alone and separate and has lots of emotional afflictions and et cetera, into a Buddha. Right? A Buddha is a fully enlightened human being. It means all the wonderful capacities of the mind have been awakened, and they live a totally selfless, open life that's just founded on wisdom and compassion. It's a very different mind than this mind. This mind is only what? Only concerned about itself. Its needs, its wants, its desires, its hurts, its resentments, how people see it. It's only concerned, its whole world is the self. What self? Itself. Right? And even when it's kind and nice, it's always through the prism of self. It's always calculating. There's always a sense of separation from, disconnection from, right? Alienation from. Okay? A Buddha doesn't experience that at all. A Buddha, as opposed to the experiencing the world of self, the Buddha, we might say, experiences the world of non-self. The world of non-self is the world of interconnection, interbeing. Right? Itself is everyone's self. Right? So you begin here and you end up here. Right? And in between is the journey. It's a developmental process. But it's transformative because it's transformative because but it's a different kind of transformation. I mean, people think about transformation. They think, oh, well, there's the caterpillar, not very attractive, right? And then there's the butterfly, very attractive. Right? And so we kind of hold that up as transformation. Somehow, it's gonna outwardly look very different. But the transformation is more inward, but it's as dramatic. Right. The ordinary mind, the afflictive mind, the mind of ego, is like the caterpillar. Right? Its whole life is about what? Eating leaves. I mean, that's its life. Not much of a life, is it? That's our life. It's always feeding the self. How do I get this self to be happy? How do I get this self to feel good? How do I feel this, how do I get it love? How do I get it attention? How do I get it stimulation? How do I get it activity? How do I get it to be just, that's like the caterpillar. They're just always eating the leaves of self. Right? Butterfly is not like that, is it? Flies about. It brings beauty to life. It doesn't just consume it. So it's a process. And it's a developmental process. And in the beginning, 2.5 months, Jan. I mean, that's nothing. Sorry. But it is something for you. Because again, you look back 2.5 months and you go, oh, there's something that's changing. That's what's significant, You've heard me say before, oftentimes when you're in a boat and you're sailing somewhere, the way you know you're moving is you look behind you, right? Oh, there's a wake back. You know what I mean? You may not feel like you're getting anywhere, but when you look back, you go, oh, right? Or you're climbing a mountain and you go, oh my, you look up there, you go, wow, that's still a long way away. But you look behind you and you go, oh, that's where I started, and I'm further along than I was, right? That's motivating. Always looking up there to where you think you should be, that is defeating. Oh, look how much, it's like, oh, look how much further I have to go. As opposed to, look how far I've come. Gee, if I've come this far and I just keep walking, I'll get there. So, and then certainly our life unfolds in relationship. Our lives, where we're lay people, our life unfolds with other people and situations. And so, our life is the test of our practice. Right? I mean, we learned it here, but we practiced it there. Is that clear? We learn it here, we practice it there. Right? I mean, you can do a lot of that if you want to learn how to swim, at home, but if at a certain point you're learning how to swim, you're learning to swim when you get in the water. Right? That's how we learn whether we're swimming, learning it. In life is relationships. How am I? How is my daily life? Is there greater ease? Is there more openness? Is there less afflictions, less egoism, less self-centeredness? More caring, more openness, more relaxation, more ease. That's the test. Does that answer your question? Good, thank you.